Okay folks, so here we go. This is one little round of my day-to-day job. And we're at a building site somewhere near Cardiff, and I'm driving a very old Volvo A30C. I don't know whether you're going to be able to hear this or not, but I'll do a bit of commentary as we go in. Anyway, as we look, the road is fairly dry today, so no slipping and sliding about the place. And here we have a banksman on the right who's going to let me know if it's safe to turn right or not. Here we go for a bit of urban Volvo dump truck driving. So off we go. It's fairly narrow, can be a little bit tight. Bodies everywhere, machines everywhere. Oh, bit of scaffolding pole coming across the street now. So I'll slow down a minute, let him go past. No point in waving, he's busy. Right, so here we go. Here's our man in the distance with our Liebherr 924, I believe it is, or 914. And we are going to spin it round, back it up, and he's going to load us diagonally across the bed of the machine. So here we go, spin it round. All that movement you can see is magnified by the time it gets to me in the seat. There we go, into reverse, there we are, she's engaged. And looking in the mirrors, I'm going backwards to see my man with his big bucket load of dirt for me. 30 tons of pure shite, which we're going to deposit over on the tip, which is an alpine experience, because we're going up a good few meters in altitude to actually get onto the top of the tip. So there we are. I'm going to switch the engine off for a moment because it's quieter. So these are the affordable houses that they're building just north of junction 33 on the M4, and they had protesters here apparently on Monday or Tuesday. I missed it, I wasn't here, I was on another job at the time. Calling for the end of climate change and everything else. So yeah, that was a bit of fun. I'm just going to stop the recording for a moment while we get loaded, and then I'll start it again once we're fully done. Okay, so one or two more buckets and we should be full. 30 tons of, as I say, pure crap. And they're going to move it from one side of the site to the other side of the site. And then apparently they're going to move it back over to this side of the site once they finish doing all the building. Here we go, that's my signal to fire up, and let's get going. So into gear, off with the brakes, and away to go. Full power, get out the dirt. We're running in ruts that are about 1.5 feet deep. And we're back off through the urban jungle to head off towards the tip. Here we go. So this particular corner coming up now, when it's a bit wet and slippery, we have a bit of a drift on this one. We drift about 3 or 4 foot to the right hand side, but today it's dried up a little bit, so they're probably going to have to put some dust suppressant down shortly to make it slippery again for everyone. But at least it keeps the dust down. So here we are. This corner is a nightmare when it's slippery, but today it's dry. And we got a little chap on a little 1-ton dump truck coming towards us. A telehandler that wants to pull out from the side. As we're the biggest on the site, we are actually supposed to give way to everybody else, but common sense prevails and people stay out the way of a 30-ton dump truck. Here's my mate who's waiting for me because this is our designated passing point. This is Dumper, and he's in a much more modern machine than me. He's in the Volvo A30G. and it's beautiful. Fair play. He looks after it, he polishes it. He's got leopard skin seat cover, and it's his baby. So we're off down the tip, and it's pretty rough. Not too bad today. Overhead cables by here, so to make sure our body is all the way down, to make sure we don't go electrocuting ourselves and knocking half of Cardiff's power off. And here we go for the uphill section, the alpine climb to the top of the heap. We're probably going up about 8 meters, 9 meters, and here's our little man on the Doosan 13 tonner. He's waiting patiently for me because hauling 30 tons up this sort of slope does take it out of the Volvo a little bit. And I'm going to spin it round here to the right, and I'm going to reverse it back wherever he's pointing his bucket, and then he'll give me the signal, and I will tip it where he wants it, exactly where he wants it, and then he can spread it around, do what he likes with it, I don't care, and then back home again, back round for another one. So here we go. So I think we're in the right place roughly. Might hear his horn in a second. There we are. He seems to think that's safe. It's no good for me. Like that. I'm going to have to pull forward slightly. Good to me. That'll have to do. Hopefully it won't tip over. And once I've dropped the 30 tons off, I will be able to pull away from here. At the moment I can't, it's wheel spinning. But I say, once the weight is off the back end, fingers crossed, she should be able to unstick herself from the mud. And yes, that's a positive rate of climb. And the bank angle is looking good. So, down with the body, as fast as it'll go. Right down to the top of the heap. Whee! And we're going to drop back down, and I'm going to park where Graham was parked, where Dumper was parked, and wait for him, because that's our designated crossing point. Unfortunately, we have to compete with these lads on the 7 and 9 ton dump trucks here, and they don't always have a lot of brains about them, and they don't necessarily realise that we need to pass at some point. So there we are, that's him fucked, me on my way, and back up to where we started from. And I'll probably do that about 30 times a day. I do that for 5 days a week. I'll get about 700 quid in my pocket for doing it. Not exactly hard work. And Derek, if you're watching this, we'll soon have you through your dump truck driving test, mate. And you can do just as much boring shit as me. Anyway, that'll do. I'm going to stop the recording, knock off the engine, and I'll speak to you again.